Good evening, I'm Marivel Tarouk. A meeting between Canada's Indigenous Services Minister and the Mohawks of Tyendinaga took place today. The First Nation has been holding a demonstration beside a key rail corridor near Belleville for the past 10 days. The action stalled rail service in large parts of the country. As Olivia Stefanovic reports, it is unclear if the trains will start running again anytime soon.
Facing mounting economic and political pressure, Indigenous Services Minister Mark Miller crossed the tracks today and reached out to the Mohawks.
Not about leaders talking to each other, it's about people starting to talk to each other.
At their camp and on their terms, Miller tried to start a conversation and find a resolution to the demonstration, set up 10 days ago to support Wet'suwet'en hereditary chiefs. But the discussion wasn't easy.
I hope that your words are earnest.
Some Tyendinaga Mohawks are skeptical of the minister's intentions.
There's some concern that maybe there's a trick, that there's a desire to come here to talk, but there's an alternative plan. And we hope that that's not the case.
So far, the federal government's approach to these disputes has been working. Barricades have come down in some parts of the country, but in Ontario, this small demonstration continues to have a huge impact.
I can't guarantee what the outcome will be. It isn't mine to judge, and so I'm here to discuss in peace and friendship with a bunch of people that haven't felt part of this country. They felt like allies at times, and they've been betrayed. So all of Canada's hurting.
The financial consequences of these protests may be felt much longer. There isn't a clear consensus from the meeting, so there may be more days ahead of this blockade. Olivia Stefanovic, CBC News, Tyendinaga.
Another blockade went up this morning in Vaughan. Supporters of the demonstrators in BC blocked all trains in and out of a railway yard there, affecting rail traffic going west to Hamilton, London, New York, and Michigan. Magda Gabrisalasa was there this afternoon.
Well, as you can see, people have taken action to put a stop to this section of the rail line that is just north of Toronto. Now, as you can see, some people have made their way across to the other side. We're told that there are about 80 people on the other side of that stopped train there. People have gathered with signs, have been putting up flags. We've heard music on the other side and been told that, you know, people are staying warm around a fire pit. Now, this is all taking place at Canada's second largest rail classification yard, and we saw similar action last weekend when members were able to block a certain section of a rail line in another part of the city, closing it down for several hours. And as you know, this is all in solidarity with the chiefs of the Wet'suwet'en First Nations who are opposing the pipeline in BC. And we heard more about this support from organizers today. Here's Vanessa Gray.
I hope the Wet'suwet'en hereditary chiefs' demands are met, that the RCMP leave the Wet'suwet'en territory immediately, and I would like to see all those cops who are involved, see consequences for their actions.
This was actually the second event planned today. Earlier, many of the same people that are across on the other side of that train were at a major intersection in Toronto, also gathering there with signs. And what we've been told from organizers is that we should expect more events like this to go on as long as the situation in BC continues. Magda Gabrisalasa, CBC News, Vaughan.
And just a short time ago, protesters tweeted out this message saying police had served them with an injunction to end the rail blockade. The tweet says protesters immediately burned it. But we do know in just the last half hour, protesters moved off the tracks for now. Well, with the world still struggling to fight and evaluate the new coronavirus, the head of the World Health Organization has said more money needs to be spent on preparing for epidemics.
The world spends billions of dollars preparing for a terrorist attack, but relatively little preparing for the attack of a virus, which could be far more deadly and far more damaging economically, politically, and socially.
There are now more than 66,000 confirmed cases of the coronavirus, or what's now known as COVID-19, in China, and more than 1,500 deaths. France has announced the first death in Europe, and on the Princess Diamond cruise ship, 3 more Canadians have been infected, bringing confirmed Canadian cases on board to 15. At home, there are 7 confirmed infections, with an 8th suspected case being evaluated. And it has been just over a week since hundreds of Canadians have been in quarantine at CFB Trenton after arriving from Wuhan, China. But one Canadian has voluntarily joined the quarantine. Richard Fabic and his wife were in the process of moving from Toronto to Victoria, so they left their 15-month-old daughter with family in Wuhan during their move. Baby Chloe was among those flown back to Canada last week, and her dad has joined her in quarantine so they could be reunited. Angelina King has their story.
Since baby Chloe has been in some sort of quarantine, she's learned to walk on shaky legs with some help in Wuhan, to playing hide and seek with her dad at CFB Trenton.
She's been marching up and down the room, looking in every nook and cranny here. And just recently, the past day or so, we let her walk outside with us to get when I need my coffee. So she's been wanting to stretch her legs a little more.
And today she got to do that. The Red Cross gave her a snowsuit, so she was able to play in the Canadian snow for the first time. But it wasn't always smiles and father-daughter bonding. Last month, Fabic was in Toronto packing up their home, his wife was in Victoria, and Chloe stuck in Wuhan due to a travel advisory with her grandparents. Fabic was calling on the government to bring Chloe back to Canada. When they did, and he was given the option to self-quarantine with his daughter, it was a no-brainer.
Leading up to this has been extremely stressful. I barely slept. I had trouble eating as well, especially with everything that had happened over the last few weeks. Just to be able to see her and spend time with her, it was just a wonderful option.
Chloe and Fabic are quarantined in a room with Chloe's grandparents while her mother unpacks their home in Victoria and settles into a new job. Fabic says given the circumstances, everyone is doing well.
Yeah, I've actually been clocking in normal hours, so work has been pretty happy about that. And then I get to take breaks and spend it with my daughter. We're taken pretty well care of. They check her temperature twice a day. They're asking if there's any symptoms. Just yesterday they said there's no one has exhibited any symptoms, so that's relieving.
If all goes according to plan, they'll be able to leave Trenton on Friday, and after more than 2 months apart, the family can finally be reunited. Angelina King, CBC News, Toronto.
Well, we are sure in the grips of winter, aren't we? Let's join Christina Leah with a look at your weather forecast. Are we going to warm up anytime soon? Frigid out there.
I'm here to bring you some good news.
Great. Take it away.
So I wanted to start off by showing you this. Our coldest temperatures this winter. We reached almost 21 for Valentine's Day. Now we can take a look here, right here in Toronto. We're right at 0, but we are going to be experiencing a light snow dusting for this evening. So if you're headed out, you definitely want to be cognizant of that. Now into tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon, that will have cleared. Now this is the accumulation that we're going to be looking at. Parry Sound around 5 to 10, Timmins around 5. Now Toronto, you're looking at your 2 to 5 centimeters. Now if you are headed out, you definitely want to know that it's going to be a little bit breezy, reaching up to 35 kilometers an hour in Toronto. Here's what's happening. We can see that high pressure system coming in, and this is what's going to give us that good weather for Sunday. So basically, if you want to head out there for family day, long weekend, Sunday is definitely the day to do it, because we're not going to be seeing that activity. Check out these temperatures. Sunday 3, Monday -2.
Looking good. Okay, we'll check in with you in a bit. Thanks, Christina.
Thank you.
Well, NBA All-Star Weekend is in full swing in Chicago. Raptors superstars Kyle Lowry and Pascal Siakam are gearing up to play for the East team. And tonight, Spicy P hits the court for the skills competition. Greg Ross joins us live from the Wintrust Arena in Chicago. Greg, so many basketball greats there. Competition bound to heat up there this weekend.
Yeah, it is incredible. I mean, just to see these stars out there. I mean, we were at the Wintrust Arena earlier today where they actually had our media day, these swarms of people trying to get close to these players to ask them questions. You mentioned Kyle Lowry and Pascal Siakam. We were able to get close to them. We were able to talk to them a little bit, but they had a practice there, Marivelle, where they actually charged people to go in and watch these guys, and they were charging, over more than $75 for the cheapest tickets, US, and over $130 for the most expensive tickets, and it was pretty packed in there. So people wanting to get close to these guys. But tonight is really the crown jewel, I think, of the All-Star weekend, the skills competition. And of course, you've got the dunk contest and you've got the three-point competition. But I think Raptor fans are going to be watching very closely at that skills, the NBA skills challenge, because as you mentioned, Spicy P, Pascal Siakam, is going to be taking part. This is his first NBA All-Star game. He went from being a bench player last year, a guy that started the season anyway, as a coming off the bench, to a starter with the Raptors this year, and now a starter in the All-Star game and a competitor in that skills challenge. It's kind of like an obstacle course where these NBA players can really show off their skills. We talked with not only Pascal Siakam about what it's going to be like to compete in that skills challenge, but also Kyle Lowry and what he expects of his teammate.
I think he's going to win it. I think he's going to win it. If he doesn't, then I'm not going to be upset with him. But I think he's going to win it. So, hey, Pascal. P. Hey, P. Pascal. Hey, you're supposed to win the skill challenge tonight. I just bet a lot of money on you to win this. Yeah, so win the skills challenge. See? He said he's going to win.
I mean, it's no pressure, but, yeah, I didn't. He just told me that just now. He didn't tell me that before, so I didn't know. But yeah, it's going to be fun, man. Hopefully we get a great show tonight.
I think there is going to be pressure on Pascal Siakam after that, but that'll be fun to watch. And of course, everybody's going to be watching that slam dunk competition, Marivelle. We've got some interesting competitors this time around. Aaron Gordon of the Orlando Magic, you might remember him from back in 2016 when he competed in the slam dunk competition in Toronto, and a lot of people believe that maybe he should have won that year. He came in second. And another guy to watch, the veteran, Dwight Howard of the Lakers, who's actually, he won this competition before back in 2008. He hasn't competed in it in 11 years. So we'll see if the old guy can get it done. And I think I would be interested in seeing that because I'm an old guy myself and I want to win one for the old guys. See what happens.
Well, there's a whole city rooting for him, but now I feel like Dwight Howard is the sentimental favorite on this one. Thanks a lot, Greg. Appreciate it. Well, from the sleekest sports cars to the toughest SUVs, if you are a car fanatic, you know the International Auto Show is underway. We sent our Natalie Nanowski to check out some of the hottest vehicles about to hit the road.
It's an event car aficionados dream of. Designs like BMW's Vision M3 Next concept will make you feel like a superhero, while this Aston Martin has the classic sports car appeal. But
the big draw to today, of course, is the Bugatti La Voiture Noire at $16 million. It is, of course, out of most people's price point. Something maybe a little bit more affordable is this Rolls-Royce. It rolls in at about $600,000, about the same price as a one-bedroom condo in Toronto, and roughly the same size.
the new feature inside the Rolls-Royce ensures you never miss the starry sky, even if you're in the city. Lexus has you covered if you do decide to head up north. This SUV has a collapsible tent pitched on the roof. No need to use the campsite bathrooms. It comes with a shower. The auto show is a great way to figure out what you want or need in your next vehicle.
It's nice to be able to see them all in one place and compare them and have a look at all the features and try them out.
What do you guys think, this or the Honda Odyssey?
This.
Yeah.
Luxury isn't the only focus. Look out for more electric cars on the road. Almost every brand has its emissions-free version. Along with smarter cars comes smarter insurance, companies that even reward you for being a good driver.
It's called Only a Sense, and it's a safe driving app, and it encourages you to learn safer driving behaviors. So we're able to score you for each trip that you take along some key driving factors like cornering, accelerating, braking.
All you have to do is have your phone safely stored in the car with you, along with the rest of your precious cargo. The auto show runs until next weekend. Natalie Nanowski, CBC News, Toronto.
Well, I would say, and I've repeated many times, that the best antidote to conspiracy is transparency.
Global Security Forum, where Canada's Minister of Foreign Affairs is again raising questions about the flight recorders from last month's downed Ukrainian jetliner in Iran. And a new U.S. push to bring peace to Afghanistan. Can it actually deliver on its promise? Stay with us. For the second time in a week, Britain's being hit with a severe storm. It's bringing strong winds and heavy rain to places where the ground is already saturated. More than 230 flood alerts are in place in England. The biggest concern is in the Yorkshire region, where barriers have been going up. Flight and train schedules are already being affected, and power is also a concern. Last week's storm left thousands without electricity. Canada urged Iran again today to have the flight recorders from last month's air disaster analyzed abroad. It happened at a global security forum where Canada was joined by other countries affected. Canada says the recorders should be sent to France.
The place where that black box could be sent, and based on our discussion, is France, which has all the equipment, all the expertise, and all the credibility to be able to do that in a transparent fashion so that Canadians, Ukrainians, and others and the international community could be present.
176 people died when the passenger jet was shot down by an Iranian missile. The group also urged Iran to agree to a swift compensation plan for the victims' families. Turkey says it's sending a delegation to Russia for talks on the worsening situation in Syria's Idlib province. A widening government offensive against rebels there has pushed hundreds of thousands from their homes. Turkey fears that without a ceasefire, as many as 2 million could head for its border. It blames Syria and Russia for the crisis, and it's threatening a strike against Syrian forces if no ceasefire is reached. A new U.S. push to bring peace to Afghanistan appears to be gaining momentum despite a lot of uncertainty. The Taliban has agreed to what's being called a week-long reduction of violence, but there's still no official word yet on what exactly that would entail and when it will take effect. CBC's Stephen D'Souza has that story.
Right there. It is the United States of America's longest war, and after months of talks to end it, a potential breakthrough. U.S. Secretary of State Mark Esper says a deal to enact a 7-day reduction of violence will go into effect soon, and that could begin the process of withdrawing U.S. troops from the country.
We have to give peace a chance, that the best, if not only way forward in Afghanistan is through a political agreement. And that means taking some risk.
If the ceasefire is successful, the U.S. and Taliban, at war since 9/11, would reportedly sign a peace deal, leading to about a third of U.S. troops pulling out over 18 months.
The fact remains that the Taliban are an ideological group. They have extremist ideas, and all they want is an American withdrawal so that they can then proceed with what they want to do with Afghanistan.
A deal seemed to be close in September, but President Donald Trump called off secret talks set to take place with the Taliban on U.S. soil after a Taliban car bomb killed 12 people, including an American soldier. Withdrawing U.S. troops from the country would help Trump deliver on a key promise.
We are working to finally end America's longest war and bring our troops back home.
But experts say there's no guarantee that the next necessary step, negotiations between the Taliban and Afghan leadership, will be productive.
And I don't see the Taliban giving in on substantive issues like accepting the Afghan constitution, like accepting elections.
U.S. officials have not given details about when all troops would pull out, saying a reduction would leave about 8,600 in place, the same level as the start of the Trump administration.
The United States, when it leaves Afghanistan, will leave only temporarily because it will be dragged back right in when things go bad down the road.
The 7-day deal could be officially announced as soon as Sunday. Stephen D'Souza, CBC News, New York.
Oh, it's a great event, definitely.
I'll come every year if I can.
Family Day arriving early for these kiddos in Mississauga today. We'll take you to Kids Fest next. Christina's back with the long-range forecast. Okay, a little bit of snow, you said, and some warmer temperatures. That's perfect. Thank you.
I'm totally with you on that one. So we are going to be experiencing some pretty mild temperatures for our long family day weekend. Here's what's happening right now. We're looking at a light dusting of snow right now throughout the Greater Toronto area. Toronto, we're currently at 0, Hamilton at -1. And we can see here through Sunday morning, maintaining those pretty decent temperatures, although Sunday through Monday, the story changes just a little bit. Here's why we're going to have that sun and cloud, but no activity for that long weekend is because that high pressure system is coming in, blocking that activity and giving us some sun and cloud and above seasonal temperatures. But if you're heading out tonight and even throughout the weekend, it is going to be breezy and gusty, so you definitely want to be aware of a little bit of that wind. Now, getting into our long ranger, here comes our next system, our next low, and this is what's causing some of that snow. We are going to be getting some snow and a little bit of rain come Monday, but the accumulation is not going to be too bad. We're looking at the 5 to 10s here moving north. Toronto, we're looking at just about 2 to 5. So again, the accumulation's not too bad. Our rain, yes, it looks like we are going to be seeing some snow turn to rain for Monday. But again, accumulation's not too bad in the 5 to 10 millimeter range. Now, let's take a look here into our next 3 days. Very important for those of us who want to enjoy some outdoor activities for that long weekend. Toronto, Sunday 3, Monday -2. So again, above seasonal. Hamilton 4, and then -1 for your family day. Barrie right at 0 for Sunday, -4. Oshawa at your 3 and -2. One weather alert to note for Northern Ontario, Fort Hope.
Okay, got it. Thanks a lot, Christina.
Thank you.
Well, today kicks off the Family Day long weekend, and families flock to the International Centre in Mississauga for this year's Kids Fest.
Oh, it's a great event, definitely. You know, we've been here since morning. All the activities, the bouncing castles, the shows, and the food. Great job.
I do love, but I'll come every year if I can.
The festival is in its 11th year. A ton of games to play, face painting for the kids, musical and acrobatic performances, and the country's largest display of inflatables. What's not to love here? The festival runs until Monday. So cute. And that's our show for you tonight. Have a great night, everyone.